Coming up on DITV, the Daily Iowan met with UI President Bruce Harold for an exclusive interview. Hear what he had to say about the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Action Plan and his future plans.
And later, plenty of politicians visited the state of Iowa over the weekend to rally support before the 2020 election.
Iowa baseball got their 6th straight series win against a nationally ranked team.
We'll tell you more about it coming up in sports.
And a tornado struck down in Nebraska. Find out more in weather.
All that and more coming up on this Monday, May 6th edition of DITV.
Don't go anywhere. DITV starts right now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Noah Gowdy.
And I'm Melissa Meter. We have a lot to cover, so let's get to our top story.
President Bruce Harold spoke with the Daily Iowan last week about a variety of issues. To give us a closer look into the conversation, we have DITV News reporter Mackenzie Cooper live in the newsroom. Good morning, Mackenzie.
Good morning, Noah.
So Mackenzie, what were the top issues to discuss with President Harold?
So one of the topics we discussed was the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Action Plan, since it is still in the process of being created and they recently hired a new leader to take it on. That new leader is the new UI Associate Vice President for DEI, Tajon Wilson. Now, President Harold said that Wilson is ready to take on the workload that comes with creating an action plan, and also talked about one of the top issues he hopes that the action plan will resolve, which is increasing the minority in faculty, staff, and students here at the university.
I think there are two dimensions. One of this problem, simply put, one is a series of metrics. We don't have enough people of all sorts of minority groups in our midst, and part of that is we don't have that we're kind of adequate in our staff. Our faculty doesn't have nearly enough representation, and our student body doesn't have nearly. And so we've got to make it better, broader slates in our recruiting pools, in our search pools.
So 2020 will be President Harold's 5th year at the university, and that means his contract is up with the Board of Regents. Did he comment on his future plans?
Yes, that's right. And Noah, he did. Well, he tried to remain vague on his answers once we asked him, do you want to stay here? He gave us a pretty clear answer of where his heart lays.
Oh, of course. My wife and I love it. Yeah. There are days when I don't want to be here. The days that I'm dealing with some of the issues we were just talking about, modern piping and a few others. But I love the students, I love the faculty, I love the staff.
To read the full interview, visit dailyiowan.com. Noah, Melissa, back to you.
2 children died after a car crash took place on Interstate 80 near Coralville on Sunday. According to the Iowa State Patrol, the children ages 11 and 13 were killed after a car making a U-turn was struck by a semi-truck. 2 surviving passengers were taken to the University of Iowa's hospitals and clinics for treatment. One of the hospitalized passengers passed away due to injuries last night. We'll keep you updated as more details are released.
Senate File 188 could possibly overturn a University of Iowa policy that bans the use of stun guns on campus. According to the Student Legal Services website, the UI currently bans guns, knives intended for self-defense as opposed to cooking, stun guns, batons, martial arts weapons, and other items. After having already passed through both chambers of the Iowa legislature, the bill will be heading to Governor Kim Reynolds' desk for signing. Iowa legislation hopes the bill will improve safety of those in college communities in the instance of violence or sexual assault. However, not everyone is in support of the idea of being able to legally carry a stun gun on campus. Maddie Smith, communications specialist for the Iowa Coalition Against Sexual Assault, does not believe this bill will be an effective way to prevent sexual assault, stating, quote, "It puts the responsibility back on the victim or potential victim, which doesn't make sense, and really what we should be teaching is for people not to sexually assault in the first place," end quote.
You know what, Noah? We had some pretty beautiful weather this weekend.
That's true. I spent a lot of my time outside soaking up that sun, so let's toss it over to Dylan in the weather studio to see what this week looks like. Dylan?
Thanks, Noah and Melissa. Well, yes, that warm temperatures will continue today. We have a temperature of 60 degrees this morning, and the sun will peek out a bit as we have partly cloudy skies. As we move into tonight, the temperature drops a little bit, and we have a super low chance of rain, but we'll have cloudy skies for the most part throughout this evening with a temperature of 58 degrees. Now, as we move to the extended 5-day forecast, as you mentioned today, it gets up to 67 throughout the day with the partly cloudy skies throughout. Tuesday, the sun won't come out that much, but we have a high of 62 and a low of 44. Wednesday, though, unfortunately, the rain comes. We have a 100% chance of showers with our high in the upper 50s and a low in the upper 40s. Thursday, we have a 60% chance of rain in the morning with our high getting up to 53 and a low of 39 bright and early in the morning. Finally, on Friday, the sun comes out again. We have a high of 61 and a low of 43 to wrap up our 5-day forecast. Well, over this last weekend, a tornado took place in Lincoln, Nebraska. As you can see here, this is a video shot from Sean's car as he is driving past this tornado. Now, this tornado in Lincoln, it did make landfall and destructed actually a bunch of trees and a few shops, but fortunately, no people were injured in this. But you can see here, it was very stormy there, and people had to take cover. So it was a big story down in Lincoln. Now, luckily, there was no tornadoes here. But again, if you're in Iowa, watch out for the tornadoes coming over this spring season. Noah and Melissa, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. A slew of political candidates made trips around Iowa this weekend as they continue to rally support before the upcoming election. Democratic candidate and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders stopped in Spencer on Sunday to speak to Iowans. He spoke about Medicare, foreign economy, and strongly emphasized the importance of agriculture. Sanders expressed his support of rural family farms over big corporations.
We need a policy that says we need to make sure that enough food is grown in the United States on a regular basis. And that means, in my view, strengthening family-based agriculture, making sure that we don't have people from other countries owning a significant amount of agricultural land in this country, making sure that young people can get into agriculture and do the farming that their families have done for generations.
While Senator Sanders was rallying support in Spencer, opposing Democratic candidate and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren was in central Iowa hosting a town hall event in Ames. One of Warren's main campaign policies is the elimination of tuition and fees for public universities. During the event, Warren unveiled a debt calculator on her campaign website that allows people to find out just how much of their debt would be forgiven if she's elected in 2020. Warren continued campaigning in Iowa on Saturday when she stopped by Mason City to speak again. Warren stressed how changes in America's economy have negatively affected the public.
Because when I was a girl, a full-time minimum wage job in America would support a family of 3. It would pay a mortgage, cover the utilities, and still put groceries on the table. Today, a minimum wage job full-time in America will not keep a mama and a baby out of poverty. That is wrong, and that is why I am in this fight.
The weekend wrapped up with yet another Democratic candidate visit on Sunday. Beto O'Rourke stopped by Shenandoah, Iowa for another town hall. He spent much of his presentation identifying current issues inside the White House, along with showing some support for fellow Democratic candidate Pete Buttigieg. In an interview, O'Rourke touched upon the Mueller report and what it means for America.
If there are no real consequences to what the president has done and what his administration continues to try to do, then we will have set a very dangerous precedent. Impeachment proceedings in the House ensure that more of these facts come to light, ensure that the Senate can make a very informed decision about the consequences for this president.
For more updates on the Iowa caucus and the upcoming 2020 election, head over to dailyiowan.com for our full coverage.
The Great Plains Center for Agriculture Health is taking steps to raise mental health awareness amongst the agricultural community. The group has launched a campaign in hopes to give farmers and agricultural workers more ways to inform themselves about the dangers of mental illness. The center has launched a website, social media pages, and hashtags in hopes of encouraging those who are struggling to reach out and receive help. Suicide rates among farmers are double the rates of the normal population, according to the center coordinator, Jenna Gibbs. According to Gibbs, this campaign is very different from the center's previous work, stating, quote, In the past, our organization has done a lot of studies on agricultural safety and chemical exposures and musculoskeletal disorders, which are all very important issues. But we have learned that mental health is always important, end quote. With May being Mental Health Awareness Month, Gibbs hopes that their efforts will encourage farmers to reach out to each other and strengthen the community.
Well, Melissa, with the nice weather we had this weekend, we did have some Hawkeyes in action.
Yes, we did. We had baseball and softball, and we have John and Marissa in the sports studio to tell us more.
Yeah, well, the weather was nice. Sunday baseball didn't go so well for Iowa.
That's true. This weekend, Iowa baseball hosted number 18 UC Irvine, but that number in front of their name didn't mean much to Iowa.
Iowa took Game 1 Friday night 6-3 behind another quality start from pitcher Cole McDonald and 2 home runs from Isaiah Fallard.
The Hawks clinched their 6th straight series win on Saturday with a 1-0 win after an RBI from Tanner Wietrich.
The Anteaters got their revenge in Game 3, winning 14-5.
With this series win, Iowa baseball has helped their chances of making the NCAA tournament. The Hawks have series wins over projected tournament teams UC Irvine, Oklahoma State, Illinois, and Nebraska.
Iowa is currently sitting on the bubble, but after this weekend, I expect that to change.
Now, moving on to Iowa softball, they won't make the NCAA tournament, but they have qualified for the Big Ten tournament starting on Thursday.
And they faced Ohio State this weekend for the final series of the year.
In Game 3, freshman Cameron Cecil had 2 hits and Abby Lean with 1. But that was not enough to beat the Buckeyes.
And with that, the Hawkeyes lost the series after losing Saturday's game as well.
Yeah, I thought we came out on Friday and did what we needed to do, kind of locking that in for us to be able to get into that Big Ten tournament. Would have liked to have this game for the seniors. That was kind of the goal, is coming out hard and playing for them. We had opportunities, bases loaded situation, on 2 pop-ups got us out of that inning. But I'm proud of them. I'm proud of how hard they've worked all season long and what they've done on being able to come out and just show improvement every single game.
Softball will head to Bloomington, Indiana on Thursday, where they'll face the number 5 seed, Wisconsin.
Moving on, Thursday of last week, Iowa guard Isaiah Moss announced he was transferring. We have DITV sports reporter Nicole Tomasic standing by with more. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
Now, Nicole, what does Isaiah Moss leaving mean for Iowa basketball?
Well, Isaiah Moss was a starter all season long, and he was a key guard for Iowa. Moss was inconsistent while at camera, but he was on his game. He was far away from the best player on the court. Moss was one of the few players on his team that had the ability to create their own shot. Moss was also one of the most consistent players from 3, and although he only averaged 9 points a game, his loss is going to feel much bigger than that. With 3 open scholarship spots available, Coach Fran McCaffrey is going to really need to explore the transfer market.
Nicole Tomasic live in the newsroom. Thank you.
Moss was a key aspect of Iowa basketball's great season, but do you know who had an even better year? The wrestling program.
That's right. At the end of every year, the Daily Iowan announces their teams and athletes of the year. And the 2018-2019 Men's Team of the Year was the Iowa wrestling team.
This team finished the year with 1 NCAA individual champion and 6 All-Americans. Iowa finished the year 14-1 with an undefeated Big Ten record, sharing the conference title with Penn State.
Iowa sent 9 wrestlers to the NCAA tournament and finished in 4th. You can read more about the Men's Team of the Year in today's edition of the Daily Iowan.
But come back tomorrow to find out who won the Daily Iowan Women's Team of the Year. And I'm guessing you won't be surprised with the winner.
That's right, John. But Melissa and Noah, back to you at the desk.
Thank you for tuning in to this Monday morning edition of DITV.
Be sure to head over to thedailyiowan.com for all of your latest news.
And if that isn't enough of the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out our print edition of the news on stands now. For DITV, I'm Noah Gowdy.
And I'm Melissa Meter. Have a great day, Iowa City.